I can't believe more white belts don't know this submission. So in most fundamental curriculums, you learn the guillotine or guillotine if you're a gringo. Boom. It's just the neck, right? And you learn this and you pull him away and you arch up and you squeeze. But what if his arm is in? This is no longer a guillotine. This is called a gravata. And you don't do the same thing. You don't just arch up because then he's just gonna pop his head out. Right? I don't have just his neck locked in. I have his arm also. So it's not as tight on the neck. But when I have the arm in, you have to do something different. That's what I think most white belts don't know. They try to just arch up and finish it the same way as a guillotine. It's not a guillotine, it's a gravata. And when you finish a gravata, you wanna do two things. Number one, you wanna kind of shrimp out opposite side of his head. So if his head's on this side, I want my butt to kind of shrimp out over here a little bit. I have to make some room because what I'm gonna do with his head, if you look over here, is I'm gonna try to make his forehead crunch into my leg. So you don't really do that with a regular guillotine, but with the gravata, you head crunch. You crunch his head down. If I left my hips here, I can't really crunch his head down. So when I shrimp out slightly, now watch his head. I crunch it down and I crimp him in. That's the key to a good gravata. I've been doing this since I was a white belt. It's probably my highest percentage submission in my entire game, right? I like to do this side though. Boom, arm in. Two things. So number one, this has to be touching his neck. Hand grabs it, digs it into his neck. Once I have that in place, it's just two things. A little shrimp, lock it, and a little crunch. Crunch his head, not arch, where his head comes out. Opposite, crunch. Try to get your head out. There's no way. And he taps. So white belts, add the gravata into your game and you'll tap them whether the arm is in or the arm is out. Techniques are great, aren't they? That was a fun technique, but they're never gonna work, ever, unless you have a foundational strategy from every position before the techniques. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing, what they're gonna do. You need to be able to read your opponent's mind. And I created a brand new course called the Jiu-Jitsu Jumpstart Blueprint. It teaches you how to read your opponent's mind so that you can then, once you have the strategies down, you can add your Rolodex of techniques into that strategy. But if you don't have the strategy, none of it's ever gonna work. So type in Jumpstart in the comments. I'll shoot you out a link to the Jiu-Jitsu Jumpstart Blueprint right now.